All right, to get perspective on this story about technology and terror at the BRICS summit, let's introduce tonight's guests and our correspondents. We have Pranesh Prakash, a policy director, joining us from Bengaluru. We also have Vishnu Prakash, the former High Commissioner to Canada, joining us from New Delhi, and our WION correspondents, Ramesh Ramachandran, live on the ground in Xiamen, China, and Raghavendra Rao, joining us live from the WION newsroom here in New Delhi. Good evening to all of you. Ramesh, let me start with you, where all the action is unfolding this hour at the Xiamen, where the BRICS leaders addressed terror for the very first time, listing organizations, certainly a big blow to Pakistan. Ramesh.
Indeed, Archie, the big takeaway today was the Xiamen Declaration, which had a very strong formulation on the issue of terrorism in particular. And for the first time, we've seen the Xiamen Declaration, the BRICS Declaration for that matter, take specific names of terrorist groups, especially those who are active in Pakistan and whose activities are directed against India. And to discuss this issue with me, I'm now joined by Atul Aneja, who writes for The Hindu based in Beijing. What's the sense you're getting after reading the Xiamen Declaration? It's the language used, the formulation on the issue of terrorism, and the naming of specific groups that are directed against India.
Yeah, I think that is something which is the most notable, that you're directly naming groups which are based in Pakistan, and China on board with that. I think that is something which is very, very different from what has been, as far as I know, from what's happened in the past. And I do think that apart from stepping up the fight against global terrorism, it has major implications for the improvement of India-China ties, which came under extreme strain during the Doklam crisis. So we're entering a post-Doklam phase on a fairly optimistic note. But having said that, there will be difficulties in the India-China relationship. But what really is the message, which is that if we can have a framework within which we can manage our differences and take it forward, I think that will be a big takeaway from the BRICS summit.
And talking specifically about the paragraphs about terrorism in particular, do you get the sense that China is signaling its intent to maybe relent on its opposition to the proscription of Masood Azhar in the UN? Is it a signal of its intent to change its position on that issue?
Perhaps it is, but time will tell. Because it has to walk the talk. Because now the statement has come, but we'll have to see how the Chinese actually behave in the 1267 Committee on Terrorism. And if they go ahead with it, that will be a big confidence building. I think it is already a confidence building measure, what's happened today, but that would amplify and advance her towards mutual trust, at least in some areas, especially areas like terrorism, which both India and China are victims of.
Absolutely. And since you refer to Doklam incident, now we've seen tomorrow Prime Minister Modi will be meeting his Chinese counterpart, President Xi Jinping, here in Xiamen. That will be one of his last engagements before he departs China for Myanmar. Now, their meeting will come about a week after the standoff ended on Doklam. What's the sense you're getting? What are expectations from tomorrow's meeting in particular?
I think extremely tantalizing, because the stage has been set for a meeting which can go a big way forward. I wouldn't like to use cliched words like historic, etc., but it's an exciting moment. And will the two principles build on what has been there already in the Xiamen Declaration? And that's something we have to watch out for. I don't think Prime Minister Modi or President Xi will let this opportunity go. I would also be watching on the duration of this meeting.
Right.
The longer it prolongs, like the meeting with the President Putin today went longer than expected, which itself is exciting as to what was the cause for prolongation of that. And if there is a link between that meeting and what's going to happen between Prime Minister Modi and President Xi, then we might even expect a longish meeting taking place tomorrow. So it's all very exciting, but we can't have a definite sort of a fix on what's exactly going to happen.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you for speaking to WION. Appreciate it. So there you heard it. Tantalizing is how Atul Aneja describes tomorrow's meeting between Prime Minister Modi and President Xi Jinping here on the margins of the BRICS summit in Xiamen.